morning, my dear students. I welcome you to online English classes. In previous class, we already revised poem section. After then, we comes to beehive and we completed beehive chapters as a summary. And I already sent you subjective practice paper. I hope you all note down in your copy and please practice all the questions and read the chapter properly. Today we revised moment as usually as a summary pattern. First chapter is your The Lost Child. As you know, this chapter is about the child. It was the fair of spring. All the people were going to it. Some walked, some rode on horses, some in bullock cart. The little child ran with his parents. He was overjoyed. When he remained behind, his father asked him to come. He remained behind to see the toys in the shops. Then after the little boy wanted the toy, but his parents could not buy it. So they asked him to look at other things. And it was the season of mustard flowering. The field looked gold with it. The dragonflies were fluttering over the mustard flowers. The child tried to catch one of them, but he was called by his mother. He ran gaily towards his parents. He heard the dove cooing. He had picked up the petal of the grove then. He also ran around the banyan tree. But again he was called by his parents. Soon the child reached the fair. He heard a sweet meat seller calling gulab jamun, barfi, jalebi. The sweet shops was greatly decorated with different sweets, and seeing the sweet, the child's mouth watered. And he said, "I want the barfi." Barfi was his favorite sweet. The child was ahead with his parents. He heard a flower seller selling. Now next is flower selling. A garland of gulmohar. After then the child went to the flower basket. He wanted that garland, but he knew his parent would refuse to buy him that, so he moved on. Then he saw a balloon seller. He had a balloon of various color, but the child knew his parents would not buy him a balloon. So he walked on further. Then after the next is the child then saw a snake charmer. He was playing a flute to a snake and he went near the snake charmer. But he knew that his parents had asked him not to hear such music. So he went ahead. Then he saw a merry-go-round when women, children, etc. were enjoying ride on it. The child called, "I want to go on the roundabout. Please, father, please, mother." But there was no reply. The child had been lost. A full deep cry rose within the child's deep throat. He cried, "Mother, father." Tears rolled around his eyes. He cried and ran to and fro. That means here and there. But he could not see his parents. People laughed and talked. Then he ran to a shrine. There was a big crowd there. A child went a beat ahead between the people's feet, but he was pushed back. A man heard his cry. He lifted him up in his arm. The man asked the child how he got there. He also asked him the name of his parents. But the child only said, I want my father, I want my mother. The man took the child to the merry-go-round and he asked him if he wanted to ride on the horse, but the child said only that he wanted his father and mother. Then the man asked him if he would take a balloon, but the child sobbed and sobbed. Then the man took the child to the flower seller. He asked him if he would like to put a flower garland like around his neck. But he again says that I want my father, I want my mother. Then the man asked him which sweet he would like. The child turned his face and he only said, I want my father and I want my mother. See, in this way, this chapter is completed. Now comes to the adventure of Toto. You already know what's the meaning of Toto. Toto is a monkey. Here the narrator's grandmother brought a monkey from a Tonga driver. He cost him ₹5 and it was Toto. Grandfather brought him to keep in his private zoo. And Toto was a pretty monkey and he had mischief in his shining eyes. His teeth were white like pearl. His hands were dried up. His fingers were quick. His tail served as a third hand. The narrator's grandmother fused him. He added a new animals to his zoo. So Toto was kept in a secret place. It was a little closest. It opened in the narrator's bedroom. Toto was kept tied to a peg. A few hours later, the narrator found a change in his bedroom. Toto had removed the ornamental paper from the wall. He had also pulled out the peg. He also tore up the narrator's school blazer. Grandfather seems pleased with the Toto's mischiefs. Toto was now transferred to a big cage. It was in the servants' quarter. Then after their grandfather's other animal lived sociably. These were a tortoise, a pair of rabbit, a squirrel, a pet goat. The monkey didn't allow them to sleep peacefully. The grandfather had to leave Dehradun and he had to collect his pension from Saharanpur. Grandfather got a big black canvas kit bag and he put Toto in it. Toto could not take his hand out of his bag. It was too strong for him to bite. Toto remained in the bag as far as in the Saharanpur. Grandfather was coming out to the railway station. Toto grinned at the ticket collector at the gate. The ticket collector was taken back. He told grandfather that he had a dog with him, so he would have to pay ₹3 as fare of the dog. Then he had his pet tortoise with him also, so he asked the ticket collector how much he should pay for it. The ticket collector said that it was not a dog, so there was no charges for that. Finally, Toto was accepted in the house. Grandfather gave Toto a comfortable place in the stable. there Toto got Nana, the animal female donkey, as a companion. But Toto continued teasing her. They should never become friends. After then, in winter, grandfather gave Toto a large ball of warm water. Warm water. It was for him to bath in it. Toto would sit inside the ball. Then he would apply soap on his body and rub all over. When the water became cold, he would come out on it. Then he would run to the kitchen fire. There would warm himself. If anyone laughed at him, he would refuse to bath. Once Toto nearly boiled himself alive. There was a large kitchen kettle left on the fire. It was boiled for tea. Then Toto decided to remove the lid. Then Toto raised himself a little, but he sat down again and he continued jumping up. Then after grandfather came there, she took him out of the kettle. Toto always made mischief. He tore things to pieces. He tore up the dresses of the aunt of the narrator. Then when grandfather came, Toto ran out with the dish of pulao in his hand and he ran up to the branches of the jackfruit tree. He threw the dish and grandfather, when she screamed at him. Toto caused much loss to the family. Dishes were broken, clothes, curtain, all paper, wallpaper were torn. The family could not bear this. So grandfather called Toto back to the Tonga driver for only 3 rupees, the same price. Now your moment, second chapter as revision completed. Now comes to chapter 3. You know Ishwaran the home teller, Ishwaran the storyteller. That is omitted chapter. Now comes to fourth, in the kingdom of fools. In the kingdom of fools, the king and the minister were idiots. They ordered all the thing to be revised. They decided to change night into day and day into night. They ordered people to day work in night and sleep in the day. After then, some people out of fear did as they were asked. They delegate the king and the minister. Once a guru and his disciple arrived in the city. They found everyone slept during the day. No activity was observed. That time it amazed them. They wondered till evening. Then the people woke up. They started doing their nightly business. Now the guru and the disciple were hungry. They bought some food item and the price of the everything was the same, a single dudu. Dudu means money. This surprised and delighted them. The guru realized that it was really the kingdom of fools. After then, the guru decided to leave the city of fools. Then he asked his disciple also to leave the place, but the disciple didn't want to go for cheap food. He got everything in few dudus. But the disciple didn't care. He remained behind. Time passed and disciple ate at his fill and became a very fat. One day a thief broke into a rich merchant's house. He was taking out the stolen things. Just then the wall of the old house fell in his head and he was killed instantly. The brother of the thief complained to the king about his death. He blamed the owner of the house for the brother's death. Then after the king heard the accused, he accused him of killing the thief. But the owner said that he was innocent. He said that the person who built the wall was responsible and he didn't make the good wall. The king decided to summon the bricklayer. Then after the bricklayer, the king asked the bricklayer if he had built the wall. He accused him of killing the thief. Before the king could order his death, the bricklayer pleaded innocence and he told that he couldn't concentrate while building the wall. A dancing girl moved in the street, so she was responsible for it. Then after the king charged the dancing girl of killing the thief. The dancing girl said that the goldsmith was responsible for it. Then the king now ordered to summon the goldsmith. The goldsmith replied that there was a wedding in the rich man's house and he had to make jewelry for him. So he could not finish the jewelry in the dancing girl in time. Then the king decided the rich man to be the murderer. He was only the owner of that house, but his father had ordered the jewelry. The king consulted minister and he decided that the owner he punished in his father's place. Then he could not be executed. The king was worried about. Then he ordered to search a man who was fit for the stake. That time the king asked a few stakes to be made ready for the owner to die. For that, then he ordered to search a man who is fit for the stake. The disciple was found fit for the stake. He was brought to the place of execution. That time Guru and disciple was now. The Guru had a magic power to see the past and the future. He saw everything. He arrived at once to save his disciple. He told his disciple something in a low voice. The disciple understood this. Now, as acting, Guru and disciple also started fighting. The Guru wanted to die first. The Guru told the king in his ears that their city was unique and there was a stake of God, of justice. The stake was new. It was never used earlier on criminal. Whoever died on it first would be born a king. Whoever died first next would be born as a minister. That means who is first, that is the king, and who is the next, that is the minister. The king thought over the whole case and he did not want to lose the kingdom in the next birth also. So he talked to his minister. The king said that he would go on stake themselves. Thus they would be reborn as king and the minister again. Then the king and the minister went secretly to the prison. They realized the Guru and the disciple. They put themselves in their places, so they were taken to the stake and executed. The dead bodies of the king and the minister were taken down. The people see the dead bodies. They discuss the future of the king. Suddenly, some people thought of the Guru and the disciple. They were secretly living in the city. People saw them. They requested them to be their new king and the minister. But they put one condition, it was to change only the old laws. So they changed the law. Now, the fourth chapter also completed in the kingdom of fools. Now he comes to chapter 5, the happy prince. Happy prince, there stood the statue of the happy prince as a tall column in the city. He was gilded all over, and he had thin leaves of fine gold, and he had two bright sapphires for eye. A large ruby glowed on his short hilt. The little swallow came and sat on the statue. After that, he decided to spend the night on it. But he as was going to sleep, a large drop of water fell on him. The swallow was amazed. There was no cloud, yet it rained. The second drop of water made the swallow decide to fly off. Then, after the third drop of water made him to look at the statue, it was weeping. The statue spoke to the swallow. It said that when it was alive, it had not known what tears were. His courtiers called him a happy prince. Now he sat very high. He saw the miseries of the city. Then, after the happy prince told the swallow that there lived a woman far away. She was a seamstress. He was embroidering flower on the satin gown of the queen maid of honor. In the bed there lay ill very little boy. He was suffering from fever. That time the happy prince asked the swallow to pick the ruby from the sword's hilt and give it to the woman. First the swallow said that his friend had gone to Egypt and he was waited for in Egypt. But the happy prince requested him to stay one night. The swallow agreed and he picked the ruby and flew to the woman's house. He put the ruby near the woman's thimble. He also fanned the baby's forehead. The boy felt it beat bitter. He sank into a deep slumber. Then after the swallow flew back to the happy prince, he felt warmer, though it was cold. The happy prince told him that it was because he had done a good act. The swallow wanted to fly to Egypt, but the happy prince told him to stay one more night as a request. He told the swallow that he saw a playwright in a little room. He was trying to finish a play for the director of the theater, but he was too cold to write. He was hungry also, and he asked the swallow to pluck one sapphire from his eyes and give them to the playwright. Then after the playwright saw the sapphire, he was happy. Now he hoped to finish the play. But the happy prince asked him to stay one more night. The happy prince told the swallow that there was a little match girl in the square below. All her matches had fallen in the gutter. Her father would beat her if she didn't bring house some money. She was crying. He asked the swallow to pick out the sapphire from his other eyes and give that to her. The swallow flew with the sapphire. He put the sapphire into the little girl's hand. Now the swallow flew back to the happy prince. He told the prince that he would stay with him as he had gone blind. The happy prince asked him to fly over the city and tell him what he saw. He also told the swallow that the most marvelous things that was human suffering and human misery was the greatest misery. The swallow flew over the city and he saw hungry. He also saw the poor people. The happy prince asked him to take the leaf. After leaf of the fine gold over the body and give to them. The poor now laughed at the children played. Then there came the snow and then frost everything. Now the little swallow grew colder and colder. Then there came to the snow and there frost everything. The little swallow grew colder and colder, but he didn't leave the happy prince. However, he could no longer keep himself alive. At last, he knew that he was going to die, and the swallow asked the prince to let him kiss in his hand. The prince told him that he was happy he was going to Egypt, so he told him to kiss him on the lips. He was going to the house of death and fell down dead. At that moment, there appeared a cracked side in a statue. The heart of the happy prince broke into two. The dead swallow lay at its feet. The next morning, the mayor and the town councillor came that way. They looked at the statue, and after then they declared that the happy prince was no longer before, so he was no longer useful. Then they melted the statue in a furnace. But the broken heart didn't melt, it was thrown away. God asked one of his angels to bring him the most precious thing in the city. The angel brought him the leaden heart of the happy prince and the dead bird. Gold told that the garden of paradise. God told that the garden of paradise, the little bird would sing forever. And the happy prince would praise him forever in his city of gold. See, in this way, we had completed moment revision chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 4 and chapter 5. And before that, we revised all the poems of Beehive come for portion and Beehive chapters, and I send you some subjective paper that also you have to complete it. So in this way, your revision is totally completed. Thank you.